Today I'm going to be taking off the brake pads and putting on some StopTech Sports. Just going to be a direct replacement of the OEM pads, front and rear. Now that you've removed the two pins, I kind of left some paint damage on my calipers. Kind of shitty, but it's alright. So now we have to take off this spring right here, this clip. These didn't come out easily like in other videos that I've seen. They just fell off in their videos, but on mine they want to be a bitch. So what I literally did for the other side was just grab a pair of pliers and just keep toying with it till it pops out. Just rip that bitch out. Alright, so once you get that out, I'll move on to the next step. Alright, so I took out that clip and then I was easily able to pull out both brake pads. Alright, so this is the front right. So it's going to have the brake pad sensor. I went ahead and disconnected it. I'll have to buy a new one, I think. I'm not too sure. I'll probably leave a comment on the screen right now if you need to replace it or not. But for now, I just hooked it back up to the new brake pad. Just clips right back on. So I'll leave a comment below. Alright, so next step is to obviously drop in the new pads, but we got to go ahead and depress the pistons back here. So what I did was get a tiny wrench, and I'll be right back with that tool right now. Alright, so I got my little tiny wrench. And I did is stick it right on the piston, and then kind of just use leverage to push it back in. And it should go in pretty easily. And then just feel for the other one. Alright, so I'm going to need two hands for this, so I'll be right back. Before you install the pads, one thing I noticed, if you're going to use StopTechs, this little lip right here and that little lip on that end keep getting caught as I try and push it in. It doesn't go all the way in. It wants to get stuck just like that. So what I did was I just used my little wrench and I just tapped on it and kind of smoothed it out, flattened it a little more, because if you can see, it's a pretty aggressive angle. Alright, so I popped in the new brake pads. So I depressed the springs, or the pistons on both sides, and then like I said, it was kind of hard to get that pad in, the StopTechs. I hammered it down with a big ass wrench, and then they were able to slide in easier. If they're still a little difficult, just go ahead and give it a little assist. You can tap it in with a wrench or a hammer, whatever you got. And then I went ahead and put my pin in and my spring, and then the pin is underneath it, slides all the way through. You can see it, bam, right there. The other one still trying to guide in right now. But other than that, once you get those tapped in all the way through and they're like poking out over here a little further than what I already have, you're set. That's it. So all you gotta do is just throw back on your wheel and then move on to the rears. So jacked up the rear, right? Took the wheel off. So you can already guess what you gotta do first. Pop out these two pins, pop the spring off back here, and they should be able to remove the pads. Alright, I'll check in with you when I've done all that. So remember, pop pins, spring, pads out. Alright? Alright, so got everything taken out of the rears. Remember, these springs, if your new brake pads don't come with new springs, you probably shouldn't just jack them up like I do, just trying to pull it out. But if you have new springs, it doesn't matter, just tear that bitch out. You still had a little bit of meat on it, just a little bit. But it was time to swap out the fronts, and might as well do the rears as well while I'm here. So, alright, here we go. Oh, remember, when you put back in these pads as well, you're gonna have to depress the pistons on both sides. So it kind of teeter-totters. If you depress one, the other one's gonna pop out. So you gotta make sure you maintain pressure on both sides as you're pushing on one of them. Alright, so I'll check back in with you when I drop the pads in and put the spring and pin in. So one thing I've encountered so far with these StopTech pads is the little metal piece right here fell off on this one. It just popped off. I didn't even put any pressure on it, and it just snapped straight off. I've seen brake pads without them, without these like metal block things. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep going with installation, and I'll look up later, see if they're actually necessary, and if so, I'll just contact StopTech and just be like, hey, What the fuck? So, alright, so done with that. Popped in pads, springs, and the pins. Tapped them back in. Time to throw on the wheel. And that's basically it. You're going to do the same thing for the other side. The other side obviously is going to have the brake pad sensor, so just go ahead and reconnect it to the new pads. And that's it. So in a couple days I'll probably do a review of the stoptech street pads, or sport pads, when I go for a nice drive through the canyon, and let you guys know what I think about the pads compared to OEM. So other than that, I got to put some miles on it, break in the pads, and to bed the pads right after I get done here. But yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for that review on these pads. Alright, so I just came back from bedding the brake pads. If you don't know how to bed brake pads, it's real easy to look online, but essentially what you do is you just get the car up to 60 miles an hour, and you jam on the brakes, slow it down to 20, and then bring it back up to 60. And then jam on the brakes, get it down to 20, and back up to 60. You do that process like at least 8 times. It's like 8 to 10 times is what I've read. And then you just coast it from there on out. And then the next day, if you still got a little vibration in the pedals, just go ahead and give it a second bed. And then other than that, that's basically it. So I bed the pads in, there's no vibrations at all. The stopping power is great. It doesn't have the initial bite that the OEM pads have, but I knew that from previous M3s that I've owned. But other than that, I mean, they didn't fade. I did drive it pretty hard, even though I'm not supposed to be driving it hard, for a couple 100 miles. I drove it pretty hard after I bedded the brakes in. Other than that, yeah, I'll be dropping a review of the pads, and also I got some Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires on all 4 corners, so I'll be looking to do a review on those as well, because they grip pretty well in the canyon that I live at, the canyon road that I live by. So look for that, as well as got my downpipes. I've had them for months now, and I'm gonna finally get around to installing them. If I can't install them, I'm just gonna take it to a shop, pay the $200, and call it a day. But look forward to that. But that's it for now, guys. So thanks.